with our center line here. And I either do the first line from the corner of their eye, or as you see, this is actually, her brow comes in further than that. So instead, I'm just gonna try the second measurement, so either corner of the eye or that dimple in their nose, and literally her brow comes in perfectly to the dimple of her nose. So that's wonderful. So I'm just gonna mark that. And then I'm just gonna flip on this side and do the dimple of her nose. And you don't wanna press, you just want this to rest right there. And then I also just like to check. So from the corner of her eye, this is like exactly the width of the tool away from the corner of her eye. So I'm gonna check on this other side. And that is identical. But I just like to also make sure that these lines are equivalent away from the corner of their eye. I'm also gonna draw one more just kind of here, just like a millimeter over, so I can have her look at that and see if she wants to start there or if she wants to make it completely balanced right away. So from the center of your nose, this is balanced, this further in line, right here, and this line is from the dimple in your nose. But I know that's like building really far in on this brow, so if that's scary, we can always add a few more hairs that touch up and just start a millimeter over. So they will be more balanced, not like perfect, right. But I just don't want it to be shocking or scary. And we can always build a little more in.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Awesome.
Just slight and then build from there.
Yes, because I don't usually like to start more than, the max I'll do at first session, generally speaking, is like a ½ centimeter in, because also this center area tends to heal a little bit more. There's more oil, so it doesn't heal quite as crisp. So I also like to see and make sure that those strokes heal really crisp on you before building too far in. So that's what I would recommend. So if you're comfortable with that, that sounds great to me. But I always like to show the client if I'm not doing it perfectly balanced and explain why, so that you're not just like, you didn't measure right.
No, I definitely, I don't want it to be like, we'll just build on it on
scary.
the touch-up.
Love. Okay, perfect. I think that's a perfect starting point. Wonderful. Okay, I'll steal this mirror back from you. Okay, and now we're just gonna use my little handy dandy tool to draw our kind of have this brush the tips of their lashes and make sure that this is centered. If you can lift just a tiny bit so they can see that, so that this is centered with the center of their brows. And then kind of brushing lashes here, brushing lashes here. And then I'm just going to do and we do, like we talked about during her consult, we want to drop this just a tiny bit in the center. So I'm just gonna do like right here. And from where her hair naturally lays on the top, I'm not raising that, so we're just drawing a line here. And then underneath each of these arches, I just want to go where the hair naturally sits, but just, we're going to just pluck a handful, so kind of right in here. And then I'm going to use this tool to make sure. So you want to set it so that the line is just on the other side, and then you just drape it across, and then you can get an identical mark on the other side. Okay, and then on her arch, we just want to give a little pop. So you kind of set this here and you press not to where it's super like pushing into her face, but just fitting her face. And then you just want to push until you kind of feel that tip of that arch. Can you feel that when it hits your brow bone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's how it's awesome, but that's how I know I'm mapping to your brow bone. So on this side, I don't know if you can see this, but on this side, the brow bone's just a little bit higher than this side. So what I'm gonna do is mark this first. And then I'm gonna go back and mark on this side. And just make sure this is centered. There we go. And then if you set this here and then just fold it, you can also get your line. I've started doing this more recently just to make sure that they're not only ending at the same place lengthwise, but ending at the same, like this is your corner point of where your brows will be ending. Okay guys, I just quickly connected those points of measure. You can look at any of my other videos on how to do that, but I noticed something specific, so I want to talk about that and have that be the focus of this map. So this side over here, can you zoom in on that? It looks really curvy, even though if you actually measure from her eye, it's even, and all the points of measure are even, but it's actually her brow bone that is causing this illusion. How curvy and how pronounced the brow bone is will actually change the way that your eye sees the shape. So that's what I want to kind of focus on with this map, because it happens a lot with straight archless brows. See how this side looks a lot straighter?
Yeah.
It's funny, but sometimes measuring correctly and so if you can picture, it's like if you have something drawn and then you lay it down on a flat sheet of paper compared to if you lay it over a ball that's curved, then how that looks is going to be different. So that's another reason we have to double check sitting up. So I'm just gonna straighten this out just a tiny bit. Okay, and if you can look at me and then turn your head this way. Wonderful, and turn your head the other way. Perfect, and I'm just going to just clean up this line a tiny bit. And then look at me one more time. Wonderful, and can you look at the camera and then turn left and right? Perfect. Just because this is like a fun fact, right? So from the corner of your eye, the tip of this is like 1 3/4 of a centimeter. And on this side, I'm betting you anything, it's actually closer. Look at that. It's just barely over a centimeter. So isn't that funny? So again, guys, sometimes measuring correctly and looking correct are two different things, and it just depends on that brow bone. So although even map numbers wise is important, you do also have to just look and use artistry to make sure that the shape overall looks correct as well. And that's something that with time you will train your eye to see those little subtle differences. At the end of the day, if we would have microbladed her as is, I think that on touch-up we would have noticed this one looks a little more curvy, this one looks a little more straight, and we could have just adjusted slightly at touch-up to get it perfect. But at the end of the day, if you can get a map absolutely perfect on first session, like, why not? let me have you take a peek. I'm gonna grab a micro tip that I pulled out over here.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be so good.
So the strokes are gonna go within the outline. So as you can see here, we're really not adding a lot, but underneath we're building just kind of a row of hair. And then if you turn just a little bit, but where it's really gonna make a difference is in this arch, and then on your tail.